Welcome back. We Initiative, in partnership with BLC Bank and Alumni Central, hosted a Women in STEM panel to ask many questions. Why are younger girls not encouraged more often to excel in industries such as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? What are the challenges women face today, and how can institutions help? And most importantly, can we rewrite the bias that exists in our conscience and culture?
Part of what we do as journalists is share other people's stories, their biggest achievements, their successes, and their trials and tribulations. And a part of these trials and tribulations lies in the fact that even with the progress and the evolution of our times, some matters unfortunately remain obscure, backward, and very regressive. Gender bias, gender inequality, gender parity are just a few of these matters, and they're all related. Now, Lebanon, which is widely considered to be one of the few, if not the most progressive country in the Middle East, is ranked in the bottom 10 in the World Economic Forum Report 2016 on gender gap. So what does that tell you? It tells you that we need to talk. We need to have a very important conversation to see how 50% of the world's population needs to not only be equally included, but also pioneering and take a big part in decision making.
In a society which honestly does not really value hardworking mothers, that my daughters should grow up to be hard workers, and no, you're not doing it for the money. Because my daughter asked me that question when my elder was about 7, and she'd see me every day exhausted, and she said, "Why do you do that? Do you need the money?" And it hit me like, where did she get that from? And it's sort of, I think it's important to watch out for clues for us who have daughters. Saeed mentioned something very important. Being in the middle class is extremely, I think, in my opinion, important. And unfortunately, in our part of the world, in the country, so the middle class is disappearing. So you're either in a struggling class or in a highly privileged class, where women at both ends of the spectrum are extremely marginalized. And I think my piece of advice would be, if you have daughters or sons for that matter, watch out that they don't get the wrong clues. No, you probably might have to be working for money, but you might just be working for free, helping somebody out there, waking up every single day and saying, I have something to do, and I need to balance my duty at home and beside it. So another thing I'm careful about now that I've grown into, well, a certain age. So when I was much younger, I was, one of those proponents to say women and men are equal. Well, no, they're not. And I think that was part of the problem. You mentioned something that we work differently. We are different. When I got married and I got pregnant and I had my babies, and suddenly life teaches you, we're not the same, despite having a very supportive husband. So deluding ourselves more into this Mission Impossible role, I think, is counterproductive.
Family makes a big difference. People that believe in you around you is extremely important. I was very fortunate. My mom is a career woman. She's worked from day one, has changed many careers, not necessarily in science, but she's been a professor, an editor, etc. And I've always had this example to follow. My father's an engineer, and he's always also been very much behind our education, and I never felt that there was a difference between a man and a woman from when I was extremely small. I used to go to the office, to my dad's office, and I used to go to the office to my mom's office. And for me, it was just simply natural. Both parents work, both parents have a career, both parents have an independent life, and they just move on. When I decided to do computer science, it was just the rise of computers, the 2.0, etc., the internet, and it was just natural for us to go into computer science. And I did that at AUB, and I was extremely fortunate because my professors there was a faculty that were made out of women. And I was very fortunate. And after that, I joined a local company which believed extremely in women developers, extremely. They had a headquarters in Europe, in France, and their development was based out of Lebanon. And their developers, they made it a point to bring developers that were women. Why? Because they were passionate, they were creative, and they found solutions that the men were not necessarily able to find at that time.
It was war, so I went to the United States. And here is a common story, I guess. There were 50 people in the class, only 2 women. My first job, 100 people in the department, 2 girls in the department. So, but I never ever asked myself that was different, or never thought of myself as being a woman. I was me. I was somebody who was learning, who was doing my best, who had dreams, who had aspirations. And I always, somehow, there's some voice in me that wanted to go and discover the world. And I followed my inspiration. So I think this is in common also with all the stories that...
What about governance? And we were talking about Lebanon and how there is lack of encouragement, there's lack of standing up for each other, and a lack of, Leah mentioned it, should there be need for quota? What can we expect, or what should we expect from the institutions to help this positive discrimination?
Well, I think we should not think anything of the institution. We know that the institution is even here or now in the United States. I mean, the politicians are not the people to lead us, because, they're not going the right direction. I think we should lead ourselves. I wanted to finish with this, but I'm going to say it now. My speech is mostly for the women. Start believing in yourself. Start believing that you can take care of yourself. This is, I think, the big differentiator, because women think that, okay, they have a job, but it's like not as important as being married, that at the end of the day, somewhere, somebody will take care of them, will pay the bills, will make them have that car or have that dress or whatever. But this is a high price to pay. It's a very high price to pay. Think about it.
They are they are proving themselves. And when you give the female an opportunity, she will deliver. And we have no issues. I sat with the female employees at our company. I asked them, because I wanted to be their boss here. And they told me they have no problems concerning their partners and work, or in the family, being in their careers.
Right, because that can be challenging a lot, or generally with...
Getting to know that most of our female employees are coming from middle class families who, as somebody mentioned, that the role of the father and the mother is very important, the empowerment. And here, Anna, I can ask the question, what does empowerment mean?
It doesn't mean that I had it all. I did not have a supporting husband. I suffered a lot. I did not have a supporting mother-in-law at all. I did not have a mother who could take my children when they were young. My father was so-so anyway, but however...
Not everybody, that's
it is true. But one thing is I need to get rid of, if I knew at 20 years of age or 25 to get rid of 3 words. 3 words ruined my life. Until now, of course, because now my life is perfect, right? So, 3 words ruined my life is guilt, okay, عيب وحرام. عيب وحرام قتلوني.